And now, it's time for a Star Trek story. So, we are now in a time of Star Trek where there are multiple shows happening at the same time.
The golden age.
This is true golden age Trek. Deep Space Nine's on, Next Gen's on. This has never been the case before. Star Trek is like a real franchise now.
Our adolescence.
Yeah. But this begs a question. When you have multiple shows, doubtless at some point, some of these elements are going to cross over with each other, as TV loves to do. So, Aaron, our question of the day, what makes a good TV crossover episode?
The key is you need to bring the drama from both shows into the episode, but that they can't get in each other's way. You've got to like navigate it, and it's like, I don't know, new characters bouncing off each other for the first time, so it's almost like its own show. Crossover episodes can be very tricky.
They're hard to do without feeling gimmicky, like inherent, because it is inherently gimmicky. It doesn't mean it has to end up that way.
Right. Star Trek it feels like it opens up a lot of doors for a crossover episode versus some other shows.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I like that answer. We'll see how Star Trek begins to handle some of these crossover franchise elements on today's episode of Star Trek Stories. Millions. This is episode 51, Q-less. I am your expansive host, Jaron Hatch, and I'm joined here by my unifying co-host, Aaron Cole. Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Jaron.
We are still early in our look at Deep Space Nine and the end of TNG. Last time we watched A Man Alone. Our fellow Star Trek podcaster Wes from the Penske File came on for that one to help us figure out what makes a good second episode of Star Trek. I think we had a really good conversation on that one.
That was fun. Thanks again, Wes.
Yeah, thank you, Wes. And now we're trucking on ahead now that we're past episode 2 of Deep Space Nine. This is also the first episode in a little Q-ful that we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking at 2 different Q episodes back to back, doing some compare and contrast. And we have promised some Next Gen Deep Space Nine compare and contrast in this chunk. And this is going to be our first real compare and contrast between these 2 shows. So I think this should be fun. Coming in for part 1 of this little Q-ful, we have a returning guest with us today. Once again on the show, we have the very lovely Mindy Barnes on the show. Yay! Hello, Mindy.
Hi.
How are you?
Quite good, thank you.
Quite. Lovely.
I don't know where that accent came from. I'm
Quite
sorry.
good, governor.
Quite good.
Eliza Doolittle is on the podcast, everyone. Yes, for those who are new to the show, Mindy is one of our dearest friends. Honorary member of the old boys' house, where a lot of us who've been on the show all know each other and all live together. Mindy is also the lead singer for the band Oak and Emerald.
That's right.
Yeah, where can we check out your stuff, Mindy?
We have our single that's out on all streaming platforms.
Noise.
So it's called Don't Go Outside. And we're in the process of recording our album. We're actually recording next Sunday. And we only have like 3 songs left. So we're getting close to the finish line. So I'm so excited.
Hell yeah. I know not too long ago, a lot of us were watching a little show you guys did in Salt Lake. It was a lot of fun. It was really fun seeing you guys out there doing your thing.
Thank you so much.
It
was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Last time you were on this show, we watched Cupid.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Where our old...
I love that episode. It was so funny.
It's so silly.
So silly.
For those who haven't seen that one, that's the one where our old friend Q throws our Enterprise crew into a Robin Hood scenario where Captain Picard has to save his one-time romance Vash and learn a lesson about something. Love.
Something. We couldn't quite grasp why.
Yeah.
Something about love.
Something about love.
Yeah.
He was down bad for Picard.
Yeah, we were like, is this a Picard Vash romance, or is this a Q Picard romance episode?
Yeah,
You
definitely
be the judge.
got that vibe.
Yeah, and at the end of that episode, Vash decided to go off and travel the universe with Q.
Jelly.
Super jelly. And so this is fun. This is going to be fun because so we've been watching a lot of Q episodes in this 100 episode list. Our good friend and your husband, Jake, who's definitely not sitting here right next to you.
Definitely not.
Definitely not at all.
Definitely not.
So Jake's been on watching all of the Next Generation Q episodes with us, and we've kind of been watching this whole kind of story arc with Q, and getting like kind of Jake's kind of specific perspective at watching all these Q episodes together. But you are the only other person besides Jake who's come on to talk about Q.
Nice.
So I think this is gonna be really fun, just getting a little different perspective on Q, having you on. And we watched a Q episode last time you were on. I'm curious if you are thinking about you love Next Generation. You've watched Next Generation. If you're thinking about like your favorite Q episodes or your favorite aspects of Q, if you know a Q episode is coming out, what do you want to see in a good Q episode?
I love Q's silliness. So when he uses his powers for just like random ass shit, I love that.
Like Robin Hood shenanigans.
Yeah, or just when he brought in like the mariachi band.
That might be the all-time great Q
If you were all
moment.
powerful, I would hope that you would like bring in a mariachi band.
Yeah.
So
every other
I
week.
like to see that.
What do you want to see in Q episodes? Mariachi bands, please. And Q.
Just that like funness of his character is my favorite part. And how he picks on Picard. It's kind of charming. It's becoming charming over time. It's like this friendship of like teasy. You know?
Yeah.
Picard's not that into it, but it's kind of fun to watch that relationship.
Interesting, because from what I know of the fandom and how they feel about Q, I feel like Q while beloved, is somewhat polarizing in the fan base. There are definitely people who do not like Q or the Q episodes. They find him gimmicky, or some people gravitate more toward the philosophical, like, questions of the universe Q stuff, and then some people gravitate more toward the silliness, but then some people don't really like the silliness, or some people don't really like the philosophical stuff. So it's always interesting to kind of see where kind of people, I don't know, fall on Q, but he's kind of fairly polarizing for some people.
You're talking about it.
Yeah, you're talking about it. Do you like the philosophical stuff too, or?
Yeah, I feel like the philosophical stuff could go a little deeper. Like it's very surfacey, and we don't really even understand fully the Q continuum. It's surface level. I feel like it could have done a deep dive and been totally like fascinating with like what he is. What is the Q continuum? But it hasn't really dove into that as much as I would like. So that's why I prefer the silliness, because the philosophical aspect hasn't been
They could do more with
divulged as much as I would like.
Yeah, when you have like a godlike entity, it's like, oh, you could do so much with this.
Yeah, it's endless.
Yeah, literally endless. But then they kind of like, okay. Yeah, very interesting. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on this episode in particular, in terms of how they kind of use Q. Now, you have said before on this show, like, you're a TNG girl. That's your Star Trek show, like it is for most people. You haven't seen a lot of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. So to be fair, I mean, I haven't seen it. So
you haven't really seen it, yeah.
I've seen a couple of episodes. We're watching it right now, actually.
Yeah. I'm curious, so in terms of just I know you've generally seen a lot of snippets from everything.
Yeah.
But Next Generation is definitely the big stand-up for me. I know you and Jake right now are watching through Enterprise for the first time for you.
Yeah.
As just someone who is so I would categorize you as definitely like a Star Trek fan, certainly. hasn't seen everything yet. So as being someone who is a Star Trek fan, who hasn't really seen Deep Space Nine yet, what are your, I don't know, when Deep Space Nine comes up, what are your like impressions as a Star Trek fan who hasn't really engaged with that show yet?
Well, I've only seen a couple of episodes, but from what I'm getting so far is it seems like it will get better.
Putting it mildly.
It seems like it's building up towards something more interesting. I mean, the episode where they have that other entity that takes you into like your memories, and they don't understand the concept of time.
Yeah.
The non-corporeal beings. Yeah. I thought that was fascinating. I loved that concept. But just like the relationship building, it hasn't gotten there yet. And learning the characters and learning who everybody is, it takes some time.
Yeah.
And I haven't really connected fully with all the characters yet.
Sure.
Other than a little bit the captain.
Cisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very interesting, and I find him very interesting.
I've said it before on the show. I think Deep Space Nine is the slow burn Star Trek show. But like once there comes a point where that snowball has gone X amount of down the hill, and you're like, oh, okay, we're picking up steam, and
so it pays off.
Oh yes,
there's a lot of payoff. Even stuff from that very first episode, there is stuff that they are constantly harkening back to and paying off all the way by the end of the show.
So much dopamine to be had in Deep Space Nine.
I'm excited to get there. Not quite there yet.
No, give it time. It's a slow burn. Like I said, it's a slow burn.
I like that.
Yeah. And then switching gears just a little bit before we get into it. But like I said, you're a Next Generation fan. We're watching Deep Space Nine today. And we're going to be getting some crossover elements in this episode. What do you think? What in your mind, Mindy? What makes a good TV crossover episode?
I feel like as long as you've got the good backbone of a storyline, and it's not just like, here's an appearance, here they are. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
As long as the story behind it is there, I feel like you're gonna pull it off.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like both of those answers from both of you, those are. Yeah, it's like you got to let both casts shine or whatever element shine, and the story itself has to be really good. Otherwise, you're like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, these guys.
It's like the audience claps when they walk in. Like,
yeah, it's John Delancey, everyone. Shit. Yeah, I think I would agree. And I would actually I don't think TV has a great track record with particularly great crossover episodes. I feel like if you do a lot of top 10s for a lot of shows, you almost never see like a crossover episode showing up in the top 10 anywhere. But we'll see. We'll see with today's episode. See if Star Trek gives us any good insights into what makes a good TV crossover episode. So yes, we are watching Q-less. This premiered February 6th, 1993. This is the 6th episode produced for the first season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, so we're still fairly early. So yes, surprise, surprise, Q is in this episode, and this is his only appearance on Deep Space Nine. He does make other appearances in the franchise aside from Next Generation. Deep Space Nine, this is the only time he shows up. He isn't one of the main characters on, Next Gen, but I think we'd all agree he's a fairly major character on Next Gen. So this is one of the earliest instances of like a pre-existing franchise character making like a really notable appearance on Deep Space Nine. And this does happen throughout. Lots of familiar faces over Deep Space Nine's entire run end up showing up on Deep Space Nine. And so I think this will be interesting. Like we've got most of the TNG-Q episodes under our belt at this point, so he's pretty established. So it'll be interesting to see how like another show, aside from Next Generation, kind of takes that very established character and kind of works with him. Yeah, that'll be the big thing we're looking at in this one. All right, for those of you at home who are going to watch along with us, this is your invitation to watch along with us. Star Trek Deep Space Nine is streaming on Paramount Plus. You can find it by bringing up Season 1, Episode 7, and we will be back after we watch Q-less.
I want you off this station.
Don't be hasty, my happy-go-lucky friend. This dreary little gulag could use a little color, some excitement, and who better to provide that than moi? Although I must admit, I like your new tailor.
I'm not impressed by your parlor tricks. These power outages are going to stop right now.
Why tell me? Oh, yes, of course. Go ahead. Blame Q if it makes you feel any better. I suppose it's my fate to be the galaxy's whipping boy. Oh, heavy is the burden of being me.
If you're looking for sympathy, you've come to the wrong place.
Actually, what I was hoping for was a little witty repartee. But I can see I'm not going to get any of that either. At least your beloved Jean-Luc knew how to turn a phrase.
Take a hint, Q. No one wants you around.
Really, Vosh, this playing hard to get is growing tedious. Let's not forget that I'm the Q and you the lowly human. I'll decide when this partnership is over. Understand?
Why don't you and I continue this discussion in private?
Excellent idea. You're right. This is an excellent idea.
Cisco to ops.
All gone.
Bring them back, Q. Now!
Or what? You'll thrash me? Shall we settle this mano a mano? Marcus of Queensberry rules! What? Fisticuffs, pugilism, the manly art of self-defense. Come on! Isn't this all wonderfully barbaric? Go on, take a poke at me. I know that's what you really want to do. Come on!
I'll wager 5 bars of Latinum on Cisco.
You're on.
Fight back! This is supposed to be brutal.
You can pay me out of your profits from the auction.
You hit me. Picard never hit me.
I'm not Picard.
Indeed not. You're much easier to provoke. How fortunate for me.
We just got done watching Q-less. In case you have never seen this before, didn't watch it along with us. So basically what happens in this one, the crew of Deep Space Nine, they have a runabout on the other side of the wormhole, and they find a human who's been in the Gamma Quadrant for the last 2 years, and this person turns out to be Vosh, Captain Picard's old romantic fling. They're not sure how she got there, but they bring her back to the station. And then what? So she has all these, she's been in the Gamma Quadrant for the last couple of years. She's got all these like archaeological artifacts. She ends up connecting with Quark to kind of auction off some of these rare Gamma Quadrant items. Meanwhile, there's a recurring power loss on the station, and they're trying to figure out what the hell's happening. And during all this, who shows up? None other than our good friend Q. So we last saw Q and Vosh in the episode Cupid in Next Generation, where Vosh decides to go travel the universe with Q, and Q promises to show her stuff that no human has ever seen before. So this is kind of a semi-sequel to that episode, where it's 2 years later, and now they've had a falling out, and Vash is like, fuck you, dude. Like, get the fuck out of my life. You're horrible. So she's been off by herself, but now Q shows up and is trying to get back into her life, and she keeps rejecting him, and he keeps pressing. A lot of the plot is him trying to convince her that, like, you need me in your life, otherwise shit's going to happen to you. And so he also has interactions with the crew of D-Space9. They initially think that he's causing all the power outs and everything. It turns out that one of her artifacts is this like embryonic life form, essentially like in a crystal egg, and is trying to get back to the wormhole and is like sucking all the power and pulling the station into it. And eventually they beam it into space, and it birthed itself, and it travels off into the unknown. And then meanwhile, Q eventually realizes, agrees to let Vosh go live her own life, and that's kind of where we end things.
Agrees is a strong word.
Yeah. Begrudgingly allows. Wacky, wild stuff. We always start with initial thoughts. Mindy, initial thoughts coming on after Q-less.
Initial thoughts. One thing that struck me about this episode is that Q seems to be lonely.
Yeah.
He needs somebody to either fuck with or
fuck.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something.
He just is desperate for Vosh to be with him. Another thing that struck me is how amazing of an actor Quark is. He was a little scene stealer.
Armin Shimmerman.
Yeah.
In an episode with Q, he's a scene stealer.
Yeah.
Is it Shimmerman or Sherman?
Shimmerman. Armin Shimmerman.
This was a fun crossover because it wasn't like too obvious of a plot. It was kind of side characters that came in.
Right.
And it's kind of fun to know where that ended up, because she just goes off into the endless unknowns of the universe. So I'm kind of glad that they revisited that.
It almost demands a follow-up. You're like, what happens to Vosh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe in for some behind-the-scenes stuff, if I recall, I believe the writers, they definitely wanted to find some way to get Q on, and they felt like, what if they find like Vosh in the Gamma Quadrant, and it feels like a natural kind of fit kind of a thing, It's like he promised to take her. Like, what if they just find her somewhere in the? So yeah, it kind of makes sense in a way that they. If of all the shows that are going to do it, it makes sense that D-Space9 might be the one to do it, if not Next Gen.
It's cool that they just kind of handed that character off
to another show.
Not a main character or anything.
Yeah, Aaron, initial thoughts coming on off of Q-less.
A show seems to have found some momentum. It's like we were saying, Quark, kind of from the get-go, is solid. But even more so in this episode. He's showing what the Ferengi eventually just become as characters in the show. Like he just embodies that so well. Cisco, we were talking about his sternness, very apparent in this episode.
This episode definitely goes out of its way to highlight the differences between like Cisco and Picard.
My favorite line from him was when O'Brien was like, "It's probably just another one of Q's mean tricks."
Q's
and he was
jokes.
Like, "I'm not laughing."
I'm not laughing.
The raised eyebrow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I will also say I also was struck a lot by Quark in this one. For much as this is a Q episode, I'm like, this is actually a decent Quark episode, at least in terms of him really feeling like a strong character and having a moment to shine. I feel like of all the Deep Space Nine characters, he shines the brightest in this particular episode. And he works really well with Vosh.
Yeah.
I feel like, because she's already been established as this kind of like rogue who, while she's really smart and knows a lot of stuff, like she's kind of in it to win it for herself.
Yeah, she wants that money.
And I feel like she and Quark make it really fun. They try a few different pairings in this where there's like Quark and Vosh, Bashir and Vosh, and Quark and Vosh. And honestly, I think the Quark and Vosh dynamic is the most interesting in this in the whole episode.
Vosh is so great. She just gives you that hint of what life is like outside of Starfleet, but in this galaxy, like what it could be as an adventurer or something,
Right. What might traveling the cosmos be if you're someone who is not a Starfleet officer? Like, and her whole thing is like she's kind of like Space Indiana Jones. Kind of.
She likes the adventure.
She likes the adventure of it all. Absolutely.
It's the final frontier in a different way.
Yeah, I think for me this one is like a novelty. It's really interesting to see these characters show up on a different show, especially like because Vosh and Picard, Vosh and Q are so tied to Picard's character. So to see them in an environment where there's no Picard, definitely kind of changes up the dynamic a little bit. I think for me, my biggest criticism for this one is it feels, aside from Quark, I think the Deep Space Nine characters are a little in the background in this one. This one is really focused on Vosh and Q. So, and while we do get some good moments, like Q does have a good scene or two with Cisco, but they seem to kind of be in the background solving the problem of the episode, while kind of Vosh and Q are kind of getting more of the character stuff. Aside from Quark, I think Quark definitely stands out really strong. That would be my biggest criticism, is that it seems like they got so excited that Q and Vosh were showing up that they kind of forgot a little bit about the Deep Space Nine characters.
Yeah, I could see that.
Especially after Q talked about their gang, the Motley Crew.
Quite a little motley crew, you have someone here, Benji. Picard and his crew would have solved all this techno babble hours ago.
We saw Kira for like 9 seconds.
A little bit. I'm going to shoot this door. So first and foremost, this isn't just a Q episode. This is primarily a Vosh episode. Probably even more than it is a Q episode. So, and we talked about, this is essentially a follow-up to Cupid, or like a sequel. What do you guys think? I feel like that's where this is going to be the strongest. If you've seen that other, like all the other Vosh stuff, particularly Cupid, if you're just coming into this pretty blind, you might not have the same appreciation for it. So what do you guys think? How does this work as like a sequel or follow-up to like Cupid and or the other Vosh stories in general?
I think conceptually as a follow-up, it's really cool to have almost like a to be continued episode, like on a completely different show, right? How often do you get to do that? That's a really neat idea. And it works well. Vosh kind of flows with this crew and works with them really well.
It's sad that she hated Q so much and just got so annoyed with him being a know-it-all that she's like, I'm done exploring the infinite universe. She spent 2 years in the Gamma system and that was it. That's kind of sad to me.
He was a dick.
He was such a dick. She's like, you're such a know-it-all. Well, I do know everything.
I do know everything.
So.
That's what makes it even worse. Yeah, there is a kind of be careful what you wish for kind of resolution to all this. And almost further, I feel like, because in some of the Next Generation episodes, we've talked about how Q has developed as a character. And some of his episodes, especially some of his earlier episodes, he feels like this genie character where it's like he might grant your wish, but it's like a be careful what you wish for. And then, but his character kind of changes and evolves over time. This episode, he feels like that kind of genie Q, where it's like, I promise to show you all the world, and then she has to deal with just how much of an ass he is
for all your consequences.
The one thing I did like that he said was that, I know everything, and so it seems like things are just boring to him because he's seen it all. But to be able to see the universes through Vash's eyes and seeing her sense of wonder was really awesome for him. And I thought that was a cool redeeming aspect of his character.
Kind of humanizes, in quotes, him a bit, where it's like it's not just some chasing tail, chasing skirt kind of a thing. It's something a little more. I guess on the note, so even though this is a Q episode, like I said, he's not the primary. Vash is the primary focus, and I think we'll talk about her in a second. But now that you've kind of brought up Q, I don't know and Mindy, you have seen some Q episodes with us, and Aaron, you've been here for all of them. What do you guys think? Does this help flesh him out more? Does this elucidate him more or give different angles to him than we've seen before? I don't know. What do you guys think? Does this do anything? I mean, because you mentioned him, this sense of wonder that we maybe haven't seen before in him. What do you guys think? Is there any kind of
It doesn't go much farther into his character.
Just that?
I feel like it's very on brand for him to offer these amazing things, but then also make it all shit because he's just an asshole and constantly just, I know it all, and it just gets annoying. So that's very on brand for him.
Just that one little aspect. What do you think, Aaron? Does this kind of add some layers to him, shed some light on him as a character?
Maybe a layer. It shows that even his obsession comes to a point. He can move on to other things and other people. It just takes a lot longer, I guess, because he is a sort of timeless being.
It is kind of interesting. As I'm hearing this and thinking about it, it's like certainly with what we've seen in, say, Picard or Next Generation, but his relationship with Picard, and we talked about it, and Cupid being this it almost feels like it does feel obsessive, and certainly in that episode it very much did. Yeah. And he's got a weird fixation that goes beyond maybe initially what he was even contacting them for in the first place. And in this episode, we also see it's very much in brand, Mindy, to use your phrase. It's like Q seems to be even beyond Picard. Q seems to be this omnipotent being who is really susceptible to these little fixations on people. It's almost it almost feels like, and in this episode it definitely has this kind of sexual dynamic. We even talked about it. There is this kind of stalker element in this episode.
It's a fetish.
But it almost feels like pets.
Yeah.
These are little cute.
It was Picard and now it's Vash.
Right. He fixates on these little puny mortals as these little pets.
There is anime waifus.
It almost feels like on some level Q is channeling, as much as they show Q as being this omnipotent being, Q certainly has personality flaws. He is not perfect for how perfect the Q are supposed to be. It almost seems like Q has some kind of insecurity thing that he is living out through some of these relationships with Vash and Picard, because in this one he's trying to tell her, it's like, what would you do without me? To that point, there's that. It's one of the darkest Q scenes, I think, is when he's like, remember that bug bite you got on this planet, and then just snaps his fingers and is just kind of showing what would have happened if she had suffered from this bug bite, and she's just collapsing and dying and her hair's falling out.
God, yeah. And you're just watching her suffer.
It's
Like, what would you do without me?
Exactly. I give you this moment to reconsider our friendship.
He chooses that word very carefully too. Friendship.
He really needs that validation.
Right. It's like a validation kind of a thing. He needs to. It's almost like he's so bored being omnipotent and omniscient that he needs these little pets to kind of give him meaning or give him validation, which is kind of horrifying and fucked up and sad. Ooh.
An omnipotent being going through an identity crisis.
I mean, that's almost what it is. It's like,
oh no.
He has a few lines I feel like that kind of give away the game where he's like, but I do know everything. And then, he knows what's happening with this whole mystery, and he's chastising him for not being smart enough to figure it out because he's like, oh my God, guys, come on, it's so obvious. But even she's like, you would sit and watch all these people die. He's like, none of this has anything to do with me. But he's like, but I've never seen a wormhole get destroyed by the space station get destroyed by a wormhole, so I'm going to sit and watch. Like,
I'd save you if you only asked.
If you only ask. It just seems like he's so bored.
Yeah.
And
I think with Picard and her, they both have really strong personalities. And so maybe that's part of the fun for him is to like bending their strong will and making them like him. And so when they don't, it drives him nuts.
Right. How could you not like me? I know everything.
I could give you everything.
Yeah. Definitely speaks to some very interesting insecurities for an omnipotent being.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like as if being omnipotent or omniscient would actually be in the end like a curse. Because you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You have nowhere to go. That's it. I know everything.
And the thought of like never dying and just
forever
being in the infinities forever, like I feel like eventually you'd probably get bored too.
You'd go insane. They kind of explore that in The Good Place, season 3.
Immortality.
Yeah.
Eternity. And just what oh my God, what a concept that is.
The thought of
like
that is a little
basic
scary.
human's idea of eternity.
Scary, yeah.
Like I could do anything I want. Right? Yeah. It's very interesting.
Getting away from like kind of some of the Q and TNG stuff a little bit, how do you guys think this works as like and getting away from the sequel stuff, how do you guys think this works as like a Deep Space Nine episode?
The DS9-ness of it kind of takes a back seat, but you do still get to see some strong characters shine through, like Bashir and Cisco and Quark. They're like the guiding torches of DS9. But as far as their story and their plot stuff, that all of that takes a back seat for Q and Vosh coming in. It's more of like how do they deal with it, as opposed to how would the crew of the Enterprise deal with it, I guess.
Yeah, we've seen how Q works with the TNG crew. Now how does the DS9 crew work with him? Yeah.
I can't speak that much to the Deep Space Nine-ness of it.
Deep Space Nine-ness.
So far, having only seen a couple of episodes, this one's my favorite. I don't know if that's just because I know the characters that are coming onto it. And so this has been my favorite episode that I've seen so far. But I do think it's just a good episode.
This one certainly leans more into the Q silliness than like the big Q philosophical stuff.
Yeah.
I think for me, the biggest thing in terms of being a Deep Space Nine episode, it's only in a couple of scenes. They seem to go out of their way to highlight the differences between Cisco and Picard in this one, especially with there's the big Q Cisco scene where they get in a fight and Cisco punches him and knocks him to the ground. And he's, you hit me. Picard never hit me.
Yeah.
I'm not Picard. Indeed not. You're much easier to provoke.
Yeah.
How fortunate for me. I could see if you're you're a next generation person coming in and watching Deep Space Nine, something like that is yeah, these are very different Sisko's whole approach. Picard kind of humors him on some way with like the game of wits. Sisko just kind of doesn't engage with it.
Not at all.
He's just
He's
like,
not having it.
Get the fuck off my station is all really Sisko is ever saying in those situations, and how not impressed he is at all by any of this.
Yeah. Very different captain personalities.
Yeah, I think in terms of the Deep Space Nine, yeah, it serves to highlight some of the differences between the show, certainly. But even then, I would feel like, again, this episode, you'll probably have more appreciation if you're someone who has never watched Next Generation and are watching this. I'd be very curious how this would play. But if you are like a Next Generation fan, I feel like this episode is going out of its way to highlight the differences between like, this is how Next Gen does it, and this is how we do it on Deep Space Nine. So it is kind of an interesting little example between, or like a little contrast between the two. I think for me, one of my biggest criticisms also for this one would be like, sometimes, Q, sometimes it's just the silly stuff. I wish Q even kind of strangely takes a backseat in this one for him being like I said, it's very much a Vosh episode. I wish they had some, like I said, it almost feels like Q is like chasing tail in this episode. Which is only so interesting, like it is interesting to see these kind of obsessive relationships with him. I just wish there was a little more, I wish they leaned a bit more into this idea. At the end, you get like through you, I experience wonder. I wish the episode had gotten to explore a little this more. Because up until then, it just seems like you're my side piece and you're going to travel the fucking galaxy with me.
Yeah.
He could have like talked to the different members of the crew a little more, maybe.
Just something that would I like.
Yeah, it just seemed like a bad road trip instead of like touring the galaxy. I don't know, just like,
right?
No, I'm done with you. Fuck you. Instead of like, I don't know, this amazing adventure, which she thought she was going on, and it made it seem like it was going to be. Yeah. Ended up not being that at all.
No, not at all. Like, yeah, bad road trip is a good kind of way to talk about it. Like, and yeah, I just wish there was just a little more. It seems very, what's the word for it? It seems very pedestrian in a way.
One-dimensional.
Yeah, because like they're dealing with like a Q being, but like this is a very kind of like, oh my, this girl's not into me anymore, and I really want her to be, and I just wish there was just a little more Q-ness to it, I'm like, because in a way they could have kind of done this story with anyone, like someone that Q had, or Vosh had met along the way and was still attached to her. So
I kind of wonder if Q is obsessed with Vosh because he knew Picard liked her.
And just like,
he wanted to see like everything about her because he was ultimately obsessed with Picard.
Some kind of, in the end, it's still all about Picard. Oh, you like, Picard likes you. Well, then I got to figure what the hell's that, what that's about.
So I can learn your ways and maybe get into Picard's heart.
It is a kind of it is a kind of interesting.
Sorry, go for it.
You could argue that this is very much a continuation of the whole Q Picard story, but it's happening on a whole different show, where Picard's not even in it, and you could even still argue like on some way this is still kind of continuing that story arc. Very interesting.
It kind of has to, right, in TV universe to continue this story.
Yeah,
literally, like you have to bring those motivations into it.
Yeah, I think so. On some level, this is probably a more successful Star Trek episode more than say like a specifically Deep Space Nine
or a crossover episode
or a cross. It almost just feels like just like a addendum to the Next Generation thing that's been going on. It's like, also watch this for further.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
For
a bit of closure.
The perfect crossover episode shouldn't feel like a crossover episode. It should just feel like you're existing in the story in the universe.
Yeah, and it makes sense for them to be there.
Yeah.
Mindy, you have, so basically what we have just done with you on the podcast is basically like, this is the end of Vash's appearances on Star Trek. So we've kind of just closed out like a little unofficial Vash trilogy, where we got Captain's Holiday, where she first meets Picard on Rise on Next Gen, and then we get Cupid, which is where then she comes back, and Q also shows up. They go into Robin Hood shenanigans, and then we get Q-less, which kind of resolves her little story with Q and everything. So now that you've kind of been here for all these kind of this little Vash trilogy, I don't know, what are your overall feelings on her as a character? Is she like a successful character? I don't know. What are your thoughts now that you've kind of seen this little character story arc play out?
I think she's a successful character because all the episodes that she is in help to show Picard's
Character.
softer side, different parts of him. And so it brings more dynamic to his character too, just to have her there. She's quite a flirt.
A lot of
Not just
flirting.
with Picard, but she just has like charm.
Quark, Bashir. I mean, she's
Oh
putting
yeah,
all
she
the
knows
moves
how
on
to stroke a
everyone.
lobe.
You have a talent for Omax. You're very,
Really?
very good.
Really likes money. And females.
They're females.
I could do with more Vash in the Star Trek verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an exciting character. When she's on screen, she always brings a fun dynamic. She plays off all the other characters very well. Yeah, underutilized as a character. I think we could have done more with more Vash.
She's spunky.
There is some interesting conflict with her character where it's like she is also this better human, but then she's like part Ferengi. So it's an interesting little,
Yeah.
she feels like
No, she just acknowledges that all of those base instincts are still there, right? We kind of talked about that before, how these Star Trek humans think they're so evolved, right? But then sometimes those feelings of avarice or greed or fear still come up for them, and they have to deal with it. She's just honest about it. I think that's what makes her so interesting. Is like she's us experiencing.
She's real.
Yeah, she's very real.
Very real.
Experiencing
It seems
Star
like in
Trek.
this episode, she just wants to get the money so that she can live
well.
Yeah. Like she just wants to go to Earth and be able to live in the comforts, and she's just done with that whole thing. And just wants to live happily and
She's
wants
like,
to have enough money to do that
doesn't
comfortably.
make me bad. That just makes me human. Yeah.
But then in the end, Q is like, I think you'd be happier if you kept gallivanting about. And then it kind of ends on a note like, hey, Quark, what's the nearest route to Taurus 5? So it's like, she's still...
Yeah, because ultimately she loves the adventure.
The adventure and the thrill. All right, I guess we'll start to wrap it up with some final thoughts. Mindy, final thoughts on Q-less.
Vash is a bad bitch.
That's my girl. Queen.
That's my girl.
Slay.
I like Vash. I'm sad that this is the end of her.
This is it, yeah. Kind of a little Vosh trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was awesome. And she had good style, man.
She does have good style. We all commented on her wardrobe. She had some... Star Trek sometimes really misses with the future fashion. And then sometimes it hits.
It's a space fashion.
She
really
hits hard.
Yeah.
That kind of pastel rainbow jacket tie-dyed thing she was wearing was cool.
Yeah.
And then her earring necklace, whatever she's wearing.
This episode makes me excited to dive more into Deep Space Nine.
Well, you can't ask for more for a Deep Space Nine episode than wanting to dive more into Deep Space Nine.
I want to go deeper.
Deep
into the
Space Nine. Hell yeah. Aaron, final thoughts. Q-less.
Best Q title. Could have used a little more Dax. She got the conclusion of the episode.
At the final shot?
Right.
But she had like nothing to do with the episode.
Why though? Why did she get the final shot? It was good. She nailed it. Could have used more Dax. Yeah, that's all.
We can always use a little more Dax in our lives. This episode generally has a reputation for being one of the weakest Q episodes. I would probably count myself in that camp. But I always like I like watching every single Q episode, except for maybe Picard season 2.
I think the first one is the worst.
The Encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah.
Space jellyfish. I think the general criticism is that they just don't do enough with him on they don't really fully realize what Q on Deep Space Nine could be. Is kind of the general feeling.
He doesn't really show his powers that much.
No, he's just
kind of chilling and trying to win Vosh back, but he doesn't really like
do much.
Yeah. They think that he is, but it's really the egg that's messing with it.
Yeah. I think on that level would probably be what I would also rank it as toward near the bottom, but it's just always Deep Space Nine just feels like such a different show than Next Gen. So every time I watch this one, I'm like, Q shows up also on Deep Space, and I always associate him so hard with Picard and Next Gen, so it's always kind of a trip to see him on Deep Space Nine. But always kind of a silly fun watch. If you like the silly stuff, there's definitely silly stuff in this one. All right. Thank you all for joining us for our little look at Q-less. We hope you enjoyed our coverage of the episode, if not the episode itself. Thank you, Mindy, for coming on and watching all these Vosh episodes with us.
Oh, man, thank you. I'm glad I got the Vosh episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you, Aaron.
Now that we've watched all 3, what's the best Vosh episode?
Captain's Holiday. Faux show.
What do you think, Aaron?
I agree.
I would also agree. I think Captain's Holiday is the best episode of all these 3.
That one I was just grinning like the whole time.
It's
I just
so fun.
love that episode. It's so fun.
You are outrageous.
Yes. I love
That's such
it.
a good message, too. It's a fun story.
It is a fun one.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Cisco or Avery Brooks try to do that line. Vash, you are outrageous! Yelling at her.
Coming off a little hostile.
Okay. Well, thank you all for listening. Next week, we're going to be jumping into the second episode in our little Q-ful. We're going to be jumping back to Q's TNG stomping grounds with Tapestry.
No pun.
We've been watching a little bit of Deep Space Nine, but now we're going to go back for a little TNG pit stop. And, of course, TNG-Q episode means that our good friend Jake Barnes is going to be coming back on the show. He's been coming to talk about all the TNG-Q episodes. If only he were here with us right now. We'll just have to wait until next week for Jake to come on.
He could hear all those good words we're speaking about him.
The spirit of Jake is very strong with us right now.
If you can feel me, Jake, I love you.
All right. Once again, thank you, Mindy.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, as always, Aaron. Thank you, everyone. We will see you all next time, hopefully with not an omnipotent being at your shoulder trying to get you stuck in an abusive relationship.
And smelling your hair.
Squeezing your ear.
I saw the wonder through your eyes, and I love the scent. Is that shampoo? What is
Babe, I'm just so much better when I'm with you. Don't leave me. All right, everyone. We'll see you all next time.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks for listening. If you'd like to share us your own Star Trek story, you can email us at storiedstartrek@gmail.com, or you can visit our Discord server. You can find us by clicking on the link in the show description.